Ryan Reynolds is making waves online once more. And this time, it's not solely related to Deadpool.
What was the meeting like when you're discussing with Disney the jokes about Disney?
The fun story would be that Disney was just appalled at everything, was never going to let us do anything. But that's on one hand. On the other hand, money.
The fact that it's not Deadpool 3, it's Deadpool and Wolverine, doesn't really feel like a sequel, but also it's a totally separate film.
It's about his passionate viewpoint on woke culture and the controversy involving Deadpool and Wolverine. Ryan Reynolds has always been outspoken, but now he finds himself in the midst of a cultural controversy. Deadpool and Wolverine faces criticism for supposedly being too woke, and Reynolds isn't accepting that. In a recent interview, he completely brushed off the controversy, saying, "It's still Deadpool. It's still irreverent, still brutal, and still absolutely not a kid's movie." What does he want to convey? The movie isn't yielding to any agenda, it remains faithful to what fans appreciate. However, that did not prevent the internet from completely blowing up. Social media exploded with divisive opinions, with some applauding the film for its inclusiveness, while others criticized it as yet another Hollywood effort to promote contemporary social agendas. Although some fans embraced these aspects as vital and progressive for the evolution of storytelling, critics retaliated, claiming that Marvel was prioritizing political agendas over entertainment. Then emerged Reynolds' hallmark gesture, his wit. Rather than yielding, he intensified his efforts. In interviews or playful social media updates, he employs his signature sarcasm to counter the criticism, demonstrating that, yet again, Deadpool doesn't merely break the fourth wall, he obliterates it. So, what's truly happening? Is this merely online outrage, or is Hollywood changing in a manner that fans cannot overlook? Several essential aspects of Deadpool and Wolverine have critics gasping in shock and flooding social media with their indignation. Historically represented as male in the comics, Kidpool has now been re-envisioned as female. For certain fans, this marks a rejuvenating and daring artistic choice that enriches the continually growing Deadpool universe. However, what about the critics? It's merely another instance of Hollywood forcing diversity where it isn't required. The gender change contributes nothing to the narrative, and instead seems like a conscious effort to fulfill representation requirements. The movie is said to feature Cassandra Nova, one of the most malevolent telepathic antagonists in Marvel's history. Critics, on the other hand, argue that it distracts from the main characters, turning Deadpool and Wolverine into mere targets in their own movie. Deadpool's pansexuality has consistently been integral to his comic book identity, but Deadpool and Wolverine takes it to new depths, highlighting LGBTQ+ themes with characters such as Negasonic Teenage Warhead and her partner, Yukio. If there's one thing Ryan Reynolds is famous for, it's transforming criticism into humor. And this occasion, he's accomplished it in classic Deadpool style with biting sarcasm, keen wit, and an unapologetic critique of his detractors. When online backlash surged regarding Deadpool and Wolverine supposedly being too woke, Reynolds stood firm. Rather than providing a bland corporate statement, he responded on Twitter laced with sarcasm. Wow. Imagine thinking a guy who literally regenerates his own body parts is too unrealistic because he flirts with all genders. That single tweet caused ripples across social media, with both fans and critics eagerly joining the discussion. Some commended Reynolds for his witty comeback, while others persisted, alleging he was brushing aside legitimate issues with humor. However, this was neither the first nor the final occasion when Reynolds employed humor as his preferred weapon. In interviews, Reynolds persisted with his criticism, playfully highlighting the contradiction of fans, voicing concerns about inclusivity in a series where the protagonist frequently breaks the fourth wall, time travels, and endures being split in two. He even jested, "If Deadpool being pansexual is what finally makes him unrealistic to you, then boy, do I have some bad news about the guy with claws and a healing factor." And the actual surprise? A leaked clip from Deadpool and Wolverine is said to have transformed the controversy into in-film satire. In the scene, Deadpool sarcastically confronts the issue directly, grinning at the camera and stating, "Oh no, a superhero movie with representation? What's next, villains that actually have motives?" That one line is poised to create a stir among both critics and enthusiasts, demonstrating once again that Reynolds doesn't merely portray Deadpool, he embodies Deadpool. This isn't merely another superhero film. It's a pivotal moment for Marvel, and the stakes are at their peak. Deadpool and Wolverine marks the inaugural R-rated film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, during Disney's ownership, and this fact has created significant waves in Hollywood. For years, Marvel Studios constructed its empire on family-oriented hits, meticulously designed to attract audiences of all ages. However, Deadpool? He avoids anything family-oriented. Wolverine doesn't either. The choice to embrace a full R rating was not only daring, it was a struggle. Director Sean Levy, together with writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, had to struggle fiercely to maintain the film's distinctive harsh humor. Disney executives, well known for modifying content to enhance worldwide box office profits, allegedly resisted, worried that an excessively violent, profanity-filled Deadpool could be excessive for the MCU's image. However, Ryan Reynolds was not accepting it. He realized that a diluted Deadpool wouldn't merely let down fans, it would be a catastrophe. Reynolds, who has essentially become the guardian of Deadpool's true essence, declined to allow the character to be diluted by corporate pressure. Insiders suggest he leveraged his influence in the industry and the film's large fan base to guarantee Deadpool stayed as boldly outrageous as always. Levy, Reese, and Wernick steadfastly supported him, underscoring that Deadpool's core lies in his irreverence, his authenticity, and his unyielding challenge of the fourth wall. This movie isn't solely about Deadpool encountering Wolverine. It's also about demonstrating that R-rated superhero films belong in the MCU. If Deadpool and Wolverine succeed, it could transform what Marvel can achieve under Disney. What if it doesn't succeed? This might be the final occasion the studio ever takes such a risk. Let's be honest, when Disney approves a movie like Deadpool and Wolverine, it's not solely about creative expression. Certain fans argue that this film is a meticulously designed experiment, a corporate test run to evaluate if viewers will accept a more R-rated, unconventional aspect of the MCU. Should it be successful, it may open the door for bolder initiatives, such as a Gambit movie, a Lady Deadpool spin-off, or potentially a revival of X-Force. And we shouldn't overlook the financial aspect. Marvel critically requires a success following multiple underwhelming box office results. However, Ryan Reynolds refuses to accept any of it. He has openly expressed his rejection of the idea that Deadpool and Wolverine is merely a corporate strategy, asserting, "We didn't make this as an experiment, we made it because it's what Deadpool fans deserve." In other terms, this isn't focused on Disney's corporate tactics. It's about providing the intense, boundary-pushing content that Deadpool fans have been craving. But is it true that Disney lacks any hidden agendas? That's open to discussion. If there's one thing Deadpool excels at, it's smashing the fourth wall with a sledgehammer. And Deadpool and Wolverine supposedly don't just break it, they obliterate it. Sources indicate the film is filled with sharp critiques of Marvel's recent safe narratives, superhero weariness, and also Disney's corporate environment. A rumored moment reportedly shows Deadpool teasing the MCU's fading creativity, looking at the camera and stating, "At least we're not pretending to be cinema, right?" This isn't merely Deadpool being Deadpool. It's a clear rebuttal to the current discussion regarding whether superhero movies still possess artistic value or if they've turned into heartless money-making schemes. And the reality that it's occurring within a Marvel movie? That's the type of disorder that only Ryan Reynolds could manage. This movie is not merely another superhero film, it serves as a battlefield for the cultural conflict. Deadpool and Wolverine challenges audience expectations for a Marvel film by combining sharp satire, intense action, and bold inclusivity. This isn't your standard masked hero saves-the-day tale. It's a wild, self-aware ride that questions the core principles of the superhero genre. Critics have contended for years that Marvel's move towards diversity has been a compelled, corporate-led initiative, undermining its storytelling with superficial representation. Some argue that this development mirrors contemporary society, broadening the superhero story beyond its classic foundations. However, Deadpool and Wolverine not only join this discussion, but also mock it openly. It's almost as if the movie is aware of its critics' reactions, and rather than avoiding it, it embraces the turmoil, pointing out Hollywood's own contradictions while providing some of the most enjoyable action in the MCU. This awareness of self renders the film perilously pertinent. It's not merely a film, it's a declaration. Whether that remark is a defiance to the establishment or an ode to the future of filmmaking relies completely on whom you inquire. Supporters are excited. The humor is exceptionally sharp, the R rating remains unchanged, and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine has returned with full strength. Numerous individuals are applauding its daring, innovative narrative, describing it as a revitalizing change in a franchise that has seemed more and more polished. Some people are not convinced. Some argue that the film goes out of its way to please woke culture, neglecting classic heroism for a contemporary political agenda. For them, it's yet another instance of Hollywood placing social messaging above authentic storytelling. Whether you adore it or despise it, Deadpool and Wolverine is rattling the industry significantly, with Ryan Reynolds at the forefront. Ryan Reynolds has established himself as a Hollywood figure who embraces controversy. His advocacy for LGBT+ rights, gender equality, and social justice has rendered him a divisive figure. Some celebrate him as a champion for advancement, while others label him a corporate advocate for Disney's DEI programs. However, one thing we understand about Reynolds is that he doesn't accept criticism passively. He has transformed Deadpool into a franchise that flourishes on controversy, and Deadpool and Wolverine is no different. The criticism regarding the film's alleged woke agenda has been unyielding. Critics contend that the inclusion of gender-swapped characters, LGBTQ+ representation, and prominent female leads is primarily aimed at fulfilling quotas rather than advancing the narrative. Certain conservative commentators have gone so far as to assert that Reynolds is permitting his treasured anti-hero to be hijacked by contemporary identity politics. Reynolds, naturally, has reacted in the sole manner he understands, by ridiculing his critics. In recent interviews, he has stated plainly that he is unconcerned about the opinions of online critics. He has consistently asserted that Deadpool was never intended to play it safe, and that challenging limits has always been inherent to the character. In a moment that has gone viral, Reynolds responded to critics with sarcasm, expressing gratitude for their genuine concern regarding the creative choices of Deadpool and Wolverine. He quipped that if they despised inclusivity to such an extent, they could simply re-watch the 90s cartoons and pretend the world never changed. This answer, infused with humor reminiscent of Deadpool, only intensified the discussion. Certain fans view Reynolds as an essential disruptor in Hollywood, a celebrity ready to advocate for daring narratives amidst constant criticism. Some contend that his unrepentant position distances conventional Marvel enthusiasts. Whether you adore him or loathe him, one fact remains clear: Ryan Reynolds won't back off. Whether you love him or dislike him, Ryan Reynolds has once more shown that he's unafraid to disrupt norms, whether it's by reinventing superheroes or confronting woke culture critics directly. The inquiry is, what steps do we take next?